Just waiting for notifications to go out, guys. Find a better spot for this. Sorry, I'm readjusting. What's up? What's up, guys? Hey, I don't know how politically active some of you guys are. You even know who Charlie Kirk is, but apparently he was shot in the neck at one of his rallies in Utah. He famously goes out and debates college students. He goes to the campuses and sets up like a little pavilion where he can have a honest debate with the students there. And some boomer asshole went over there and shot him in the neck. They got the shooter. Apparently there's a video. I didn't go watch the video on X because I don't need to see the guy getting shot in the neck, but apparently it was pretty bad. They're saying he's in critical condition right now, so I don't know if they're bullshitting or not. So he could be gone. I don't know, but it's so he's actually one of those people that's willing to go out and have a debate with the Marxists, and I've been saying for quite some time now. I made it my little catchphrase: you don't debate Marxists, you defeat them. The debate is over. There is no more argument. Marxism is an evil ideology, and I don't know how many times and how many examples we got to have of that. It's an evil ideology. Marxism is an evil ideology. And we need to stop tolerating it, because the tolerance is getting us killed. Straight up. Trying to go out and have a debate and a discourse with these people, get you shot or stabbed in the neck. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having to explain why socialism is evil. You know, why is communism bad? Why is fascism bad? Why is Nazism bad? Because they're all fucking socialists. They're all rooted in socialism. And socialism only works on paper. It goes completely against human nature. It will never be implemented the way that they say it's going to be implemented. So no real socialism has been tried, just like communism, right? It's an evil ideology. Abolition of private property, top-down government, all controlled, cradle to grave by the government, planned economy. You're going to work where they tell you to work. You're going to make as many widgets as they tell you to make, and they'll tell you who you can and can't compete with. It's evil. It stifles the human spirit. I'm not even talking about Democrat, Republican right now. I'm talking about socialism. Yeah, if you want to go down that road, I mean, the GOP is not the GOP of the 90s or even early 2000s. It's a populist party. It is being transformed by Trump. It is, the GOP doesn't really exist anymore. It's the Trump party. And Trump is essentially a Democrat from the 1990s and the 80s. He's what we used to call a blue dog Democrat. And by the way, the Democrats was the populist party. That was the whole point. They were the working man's party. That's why all the unions backed the Democrats until they were betrayed. And the Republicans didn't help either. But the Republicans have always been more about free market principles. And that's why they're the populists now over the Democrats. Because they're Marxist socialist scumbags. And they believe in the authoritarianism and the stifling of the human spirit and the cradle to grave nonsense that the government is going to be your new daddy. You know, we could blow up all the nuclear families, take all the men out of the households, have government raise your kids by a bunch of single moms. That's what the Democrats have turned into. Republicans went out there and, hey, we got a birth rate crisis going on. Roe v. Wade was always bad law to begin with because there is no right to privacy in the Constitution. They made that shit out of whole cloth to justify Roe v. Wade. Meanwhile, they yeeted 50 million American citizens because these corporatists, these globalists say, hey, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not, you're all just economical units for GDP. Culture doesn't matter. You're just a statistical figure on a spreadsheet. And if we kill off all these Americans and replace you with a bunch of third world savages, it's all the same to them. Or even better, because at least the savages are easier to control because you entice them with things like electricity and clean running water. Turns out that's not the case. Where you come from matters. Where you come from matters. Growing up in your society and giving a damn about where you live matters. Who knew? Yeah. All the globalists care about. See, it's not even left or right anymore. It's globalist versus nationalist. That's what it is right now. Globalist versus nationalist. The only problem is the nationalists got such a bad name because of what happened with the damn Nazis and the fascists. But that's National Socialism. That's why I laugh at the neo-Nazis out there. You know, they want to be on the right wing. Well, the Nazis aren't right wing. They never have been. All you have to do is open up a damn book and go read it. Don't listen to the propaganda out there. Go fucking read a book. The Nazis have never been right wing. How many fucking speeches you got in writings you have to hear from Hitler saying, I am a socialist? And that's a cornerstone of his ideology and philosophy. He just decried Marxism, but he was a socialist. Mussolini, an avowed socialist. Giovanni Gentili, the author of Fascism, ardent socialist. Fucking Stalin was a socialist. Why do you think the Nazis and the Russians teamed up together to carve up Poland? Because they were natural allies, because they were both socialists. But also, like a socialist, are snakes in the grass and they want to stab each other in the back. People forget about that. And after the Soviets had an oh shit moment with the Nazis, when they started killing each other in Poland, that's when they went running to the fucking West. Help me, Britain! Help me, France! Help me, America! They're about to kick our ass! And they were. The Ruskies lost 35 million people to the Nazis. The Nazis only lost because they ran out of bullets and gas. Because they killed so many goddamn Soviets. Anyway. But yeah. There you go. Here's your little left and right paradigm. No, it's nationalism versus socialism. Nationalism versus globalism. American nationalism is not the same as Nazi nationalism Because nationalism is a culture-based ideology. And we do have an American culture. And our culture is heavily rooted in our Constitution, specifically our Bill of Rights. Germans didn't know anything about free speech, freedom of press, freedom of assembly, right to redress of grievances to the government, not having soldiers stationed in the houses and shit like that. They had no concept of that. They were always under a monarchy or a Kaiser or whatever the fuck. You know, they went from a Kaiser to the Fuhrer. They didn't become democratic until they were taken over by the West. It's not the same. I know, Stannis. I know. It's aggravating. But now, because we as Americans have allowed socialism to take root in our country, innocent people are being killed in the streets. That poor girl that came from Ukraine, war-torn Ukraine, she fled and came here to escape the Soviets, the Russians. Literally dodging bombs and bullets. Obliterating her country. She comes over here and couldn't survive a fucking ride on public transit without getting stabbed in the neck after working a full shift at a pizza parlor. Just going home from work. Just looking at her damn phone, trying to unwind on our way home. It's stabbed in the fucking neck. Why? Because of fucking progressive Marxist judges allowing that fucking animal on the street and didn't take care of him 14 fucking times. 14. They had that motherfucker 14. Now they got him for the 15th, right? The 15th was the final number. He finally popped off. But he had violent offenses within those first 14 touches with law enforcement. But those goddamn judges kept letting him back out on the road, out on the streets. And that woman paid with her life. They unleashed a rabid fucking animal 14 fucking times to go into public. And now you have a prominent social media figure like Charlie Kirk going out there and actually debating these motherfuckers. These commie, pinko sons of bitches that would see us all dead in order to enact their fucking utopia. He's one of the few ones out here willing to go out to the universities to debate these people. And he gets shot in the neck. Folks, the debate is over. The debate is over. You don't debate evil. You defeat it. Period. There is no turning the other cheek. There is no turning your back on the enemy. You defeat them. The fuck is wrong with some people? Why am I having to explain this? It was disgusting and horrific and completely preventable. It's just frustrating, man. It's very frustrating. Yeah, and I'm a little emotional right now. It's just like, because I don't want to see my fellow Americans, or anybody for that matter, getting murdered in the streets because the mainstream media has whipped these motherfuckers into a frenzy. They're frothing at the mouth saying Orange Man bad, or Trump is Orange Hitler, and he's coming out to get everyone, and he's the second coming of the Antichrist, whatever, man. They have whipped these motherfuckers into a frenzy, that they're actually murdering people in the streets. Charlie Kirk is not even a politician. He's just a social media guy willing to have a conversation. And he goes directly to the universities to challenge the orthodoxy out there. Hey, we can have, and it's always about a respectable debate. Now, if you get crossways with him, yeah, he's going to make it look like a stupid asshole. But if you have a respectful debate with the guy, he's respectful back, and that's the way it should be. You match energy. But these fucking Marxist, progressive professors in these universities need to be burned out of there, root and branch. They have infested academia. And they're filling our kids' heads with bullshit. And it needs to stop. No, they don't. They don't want the debate. Look, they look at us as we're the evil ones. But when was the last time you saw right-wingers going out there and assassinating anybody in the left? When does that happen? Who's doing that on the right? I haven't. Have you seen it? Are there right-wing death squads? Are they wearing Hugo Boss uniforms out there with Lugers and they're just going out and putting holes in people's heads? No, it doesn't. It's boogeyman. It doesn't happen. It's not happening. But what you do see are the revolutionary Marxists being violent in the streets again, as they're prone to do, because part of Marxism is the revolution. They are the violence instigators. They are the revolutionaries. They are the violent ones. They're the ones always starting shit, and when they get punched back in the nose, claim that they're the victim. Happens all the time. He runs an outfit called Turning Point USA. You may or may not have heard of the guy. But he's kind of a big deal on the political spectrum on social media. He's got a pretty good social media presence. And like I said, he's got Turning Point USA. He's involved in a lot of right-wing politics. But his biggest shtick is to go out to universities and have open debates with the students at the universities to challenge the orthodoxy that they're being taught by the Marxist professors out there. And it's a fucking boomer, and I can say that because I saw the guy. It was an old fat guy, white hair, bald. Why is it always bald motherfuckers causing problems, man? Why is that? I don't understand. It's an old fat, bald white guy. Shot the dude in the neck. Got a lot of mentally ill people out there, guys, and they have been whipped up in their frenzy, and they got some kind of weird fucking. It's almost like 1984. They're having their day. They're having their day of rage, right? Their 5 minutes of rage, and they think all the right wingers are out to get them and all that. When in reality, it's that we've been too tolerant and we've walked away from the rule of law, right? Going after illegals and sending them back home is not inhumane because we have an immigration policy. That's just one thing they like to bring up, right? Like, oh my God, you're pulling these people off the streets. Look, just throw a quick stat out there. The vast majority of the people going home are doing it willingly. You realize when Trump made the offer for $1,000 cash and a plane ride home, 1.6 million people have taken advantage, and they know that exact figure because they got to pay. They got to restore the check, right? So look, you go home, you get the fuck out now. You can put your affairs in order, and you still will be eligible to apply to come back in. If we have to go out and get you, you're not coming back. And we may not send you back home. We may send you to fucking Uganda. There's no guaranteed plane ride home if Bowman has to go get you with ICE. We just want you the fuck out of the country. You want a guaranteed ride home and some money in your pocket? Then you self-deport. That's humane. That's humane. Being given an option is humanity. Sage says Trump is educating. Because Sage is a fucking idiot. He's holed up in goddamn Maine in a little compound. He doesn't get out and actually interact with people. He doesn't know how to fucking talk to people. He's a fucking dipshit. And I know the quote he's talking about. Because they're asking Trump about all the Chinese people coming over here and going to college. Well, first off, there's only about 300,000 in the country right now, which is still too many in my estimation. Trump doesn't do everything that I want him to do. I just be perfectly clear about that. I would be more of a hard ass than he is, believe it or not. But two, that figure with the Chinese, you don't even know if that includes the people in Taiwan, right? Because I'm sure there's a lot of Taiwanese people, but they're considered Chinese as well. Well, the Taiwanese who are Chinese are not commies. So there needs to be a distinction there, and I suspect that a lot of that's getting jumbled in there and mixed in with a mix. Again, Sage is prone to go out there half-cocked and take a lot of shit out of context with statistical data. So I don't listen to him anymore. That he's a son of a bitch because he does underhanded shit, and that's why I don't talk to him anymore, and want nothing to do with him. There's nothing of value there. But to each their own. You watch whoever you want to watch. I don't give a shit. That's just from my experience. What the fuck are you talking about? I haven't. Well, you act like I'm in charge of that, Diver. The fuck? Yeah, I would release it tomorrow. You want to know the reality of the Epstein files? There are very powerful people on that list, and they actually control the world. Not the politician. Those assholes. Are we going to see justice? Look, man, the reality is some people are above the law. Hillary Clinton is still walking around a free woman. She's still walking around free. She should be in jail for the rest of her life. Trump even made that part of his campaign promise in his first administration. He couldn't do it. So gnaw on that bone for a little bit. It's turning out that Trump was instrumental in Epstein being arrested the first go-around back in the early 2000s. Is Trump faithful to his wife? No. Do I think he's out there diddling kids? No. But you know who else was on the island? Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking, of all people. Believe that? It's a paraplegic in a fucking wheelchair, getting lap danced by a teenager. Yeah, that happened. A lot of prominent people out there. And you know what? If anything comes out where Trump was, and I'm wrong, and Trump was fooling around little kids, yeah, he needs to be taken out of office too and arrested. I'll say it. I'm not. I just don't think if he were, it would have come out already. They raided the man's home at Mar-a-Lago. They tried to get him on some bullshit archive deal with the records department. They tried everything by making some bullshit case up with with Carol, to what they were doing with Fonnie Davis in New York City. They tried everything in the kitchen sink. So believe me, and they have all the information too. So if there was anything linking Trump to Epstein, that would have come out like prominently. And I don't know why you don't see that. I'm wrong about a lot of things. Ah, Jesus Christ. So he is gone. Well, he was shot right in the neck. He was a young guy. He has young kids, and this fucking boomer asshole assassinated him. Yeah, it doesn't matter, dude. He's just a fucking hermit. He's a hermit that lives in Maine that believes he's better than a working man because he's a fucking broker for over-dimensional freight. And that's the long and short of it. And that's what he said on several occasions. I'm not making that shit up. He thinks he's above us working people out here, especially truck drivers, even though we're instrumental to moving his freight. And he said this on several occasions. It's one of the reasons I don't like him. He's a duplicitous asshole. But they weren't. They had plenty of propaganda. They looked at the social media. These guys, look, Diver, they were registered because they were trying to put Nikki Haley through the primary. You don't understand that? I thought we already had this conversation, Diver. Democrats and even Republicans will do the same fucking thing. When it's election time, they will register the opposite party to fuck with the primaries, to try to get somebody more moderate to be placed on the ballot ahead of the person that's in the lead, right? These assholes wanted Nikki Haley. She's the globalist ex-UN ambassador. I can't remember if she was a governor or not. But they wanted her. But you have to register for that party to participate in that primary. So just stop with the nonsense. There was no insurrection. It was a riot that got out of control. You had a protest rally that devolved into a riot at one part. Not the whole thing, because they're all over D.C. But Diver, it's already been proven that undercover feds were in the crowd riling these people up to storm the Capitol building. All right, so just stop with the fucking nonsense. What you're talking about has already been debunked many times. Many times. Trump is an elitist. I will grant you that. He's a billionaire. He was born rich. I don't. What the hell does that have to do with anything? The smart people sit at home their whole life and smoke weed. Well, I don't know about that. I'm not. You know me long enough. I'm not a big proponent for drugs. Don't do drugs. That's what I'm telling you. Listen to me or not. Whatever. Drugs will ruin your life. Alcohol will ruin your life. We own less than we did decades. Yeah, that's true. We do. Yeah, and that's because of globalists. Globalists betrayed our country. And that was left and right. It started, it culminated in the NAFTA. And it gutted our manufacturing and industrial base and sent it overseas. And, they promised us, we'll be a service-based economy. It'll be swell. We won't make anything here. Everyone will be Starbucks baristas and working at Dollar General or wherever the fuck, and it'll be just as good as that $70,000 a year factory job. Right? And again, this is why people are retarded. Not everyone deserves the vote. I'm sorry, they don't. Because dumb shit like that, people they will try to push through a message like that through propaganda, and it's retarded. Well, do what you want to do, man. That's not me. Manufacturer of what? Second largest manufacturer of what, Diver? They call it the fucking Rust Belt for a reason. Have you been asleep these last fucking 35 years? Did you not see the Midwest gutted? How many communities around the Great Lakes have been absolutely devastated because the factories closed down? I mean, come on, man. I don't have to explain this to you. You've been around long enough. Open your damn eyes. It didn't used to be called the Rust Belt. The fucking Detroit used to be the crown jewel of America. It was more wealthy per capita than New York City. You believe that? Detroit. And it was gutted by the globalists. Globalism is a lie. It's a lie. I don't need my president to care about me individually, right? I don't know where you get it. I don't know this whole thing about like, hey, I need a president I have a beer with. Fuck that. I want a mean son of a bitch to go in there and straighten out these other countries because we have jackals nipping at our heels. You don't want a nice guy running the country. You want a mean son of a bitch, but actually gives a shit about his people in general. Right? That's why when he's juggling the economy, he has to look out for the working class people, but he also has to look out for the business people. He has to do that too. He has to create the incentives for people to bring the capital back to the United States to create these jobs. And I understand that. I understand that. Some of y'all want 100% pure ideology, right? You have to pass a purity test for your leaders. That's not the way it works, man. You need a little something of this, something of that to make everything work right. You go too far in one direction or the other, you destroy the country. Damn. Yeah, and where do the fancy suits and the really flowery vocabulary and verbosity get us with, like Obama, for instance, right? What did that get us? The real polished politician. What did that get us? I like Trump because he acts like a blue-collar guy. I realize he was never blue-collar, but he's more blue-collar than we've had since probably Harry Truman. He's always been a rich guy, but he's always worked with blue-collar people because he's a contractor, right? He always had to deal with the builders and the people that actually make shit. He wasn't a finance guy, right? He likes to open up casinos. You know? I don't know. Either you like the guy or not, but you can't deny he's effective. And I don't like the direction he's taking the country. Honestly. His policies are spot on. I have been calling for tariffs for decades. Decades. It needed to happen a long time ago. So yeah, I agree with what's going on. The illegals needed to go. Biden should be in jail right now. Biden should be in prison right now for what he did to this country. It was dereliction of duty. It's constitutional duty to maintain safety and security at the border, not allowing up to an estimated 20 million motherfuckers to go penetrate into the interior of our country and then expect every one of these assholes to get a hearing before we boot them out. No, that's not the way it's going. You don't use our own system against us. The American system will not allow that. They will be expedited back home. They didn't come in lawfully. They're going to be expelled rapidly. That's all there is to it. Tough shit. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. First off, the dot-com bubble happened under Clinton. That was the real economic downturn. Oh, and who was president when the 2008 happened? You know, the housing crisis? You know? Now, I'm not saying George Bush is not share some of the blame, because he is. He's a neocon. Neocons and liberals are basically the same. You can't say that anymore, right? Because a lot of the neocons are being voted out. Back in the day, that was a running joke. There was no difference. On paper, there was no difference between Gore or Bush or Hillary or Clinton. Neocons and liberals are the same. One just has an R, and that was the big joke, right? There's no difference between the two parties. Now there is. There's absolutely a difference now. And if you can't see it, then you're blind or just being willfully ignorant. Because he pays for his for views. You realize when I was popping off huge numbers, he most likely he had paid a service to do that. You know, you could do that. You could pay for views, not just subs, but views. And you know what? If it's organic, good on him. I don't care. It is what it is. Yeah, pretty much. And other reasons I'm not terminating online either. I actually work for a living. This takes the majority of my time. And I've had other shit to worry about than fucking around on YouTube. But when I saw this happen with Charlie Kirk, I'm just like, you know, I'm venting, guys. I'm venting my spleen. I'm so fucking aggravated and agitated that I just needed to get it off my chest. I never claimed I was ever going to be some kind of fucking internet superstar out here. It was never really that important to me, to be perfectly honest. It still isn't. Because I'm realistic in my expectations. I'll have to tell you, I don't have this huge social media ego. Never have, even when I was more popular. You know, I understand that my popularity went down because I got away from a lot of the drama. I did that on purpose. Whatever. I'm waiting to see if this is true. So I'm just looking at anything that pops up to confirm whether he's passed or not. That's a damn shame, man. That's a damn shame. Like I say, he's one of the few people out here on the right that's willing to go out there and actually talk to people and have an honest debate. And they kill him, or try to kill him. Diver, you seem like a sensible guy. I don't know why you hang out or associate with these people. I honestly don't. I have a feeling that you and I are more like-minded than you would like to believe, and that's why you keep coming around. It's not just to give me a hard time, but you're an American patriot at heart. You actually give a damn about this country. As do I. And what we're seeing is not working. A lot of shit's coming to a head. Russians sent drones over to Poland. They got shot down today. So that's happening. Oh, wait, let's wait for Article 4 to be kicked in for NATO, and we're actually putting NATO troops on the ground, like, officially, to go into Russia and Belarus. What a wonderful time that'll be. We're like a frog's hair from that happening, guys. And then you have other weird shit, like Indonesia is rioting right now. Nepal had riots. Their prime minister just resigned because of the riots. Things are heating up. And then you get other strange shit. I shared an article. You realize they had a UAP, UFO congressional hearing yesterday, right? And you heard some fucking crazy fucking testimony and actual video footage of what they were seeing out there. And that's some real shit. There's this UAP that gets hit with a fucking Hellfire missile. Somehow it prevents it from detonating. It doinks off the UAP, knocks some pieces off the UAP, but the 3 pieces that come off stay in formation with the mothership and just keeps on trucking like nothing happened. That's some crazy shit, guys. I mean, that's huge. You know, Canada's falling apart. They may be breaking apart between the western provinces and Quebec, right? So they may be splitting them out. So when Trump was, saying Canada becoming the 51st state, well, parts of it might become multiple states. Or they're going to make Canada part 2. Or 3, I guess, if you got Quebec too. So you may have 3 Canadas. And that's not including what's happening down in Venezuela. It's a lot of crazy shit's going on in the world right now. You can feel it in the air, man. Everything's ratcheting up. And when you try to genuinely go out and have a discussion with people, they just want to kill you. They just want to flat out kill you. Shoot you right in the neck. Okay. I apologize. My chat froze up. Hold on. Article 5, not 4, whatever. I'm only here to watch Jason Pope videos. You happen to be here too. Oh, gotcha. All right. Let me catch up all the messages. As long as they say it's a critical issue right now. Yeah. Selling your life for $2,000 a week, but 10 years and you get out. Don't waste your life. Shit. Always hate doing this shit on the phone sometimes. Well, you gotta do something for a living, man. We all can't be doctors, lawyers, and engineers. Whatever. Running Man's coming, yeah. They're scared of the answer. I don't know why it does that, man. It freezes up the chat. I wasn't ignoring you guys. It just wasn't going anywhere. I had to refresh it. Right, so, but why are you here for the Jason Pope videos, right? I haven't fucked with that guy for a long time. Because I said what I needed to say, but, you know, whatever. But it's the same thing, right? People taking advantage of your fellow citizen because you actually give a fuck about your fellow citizen, right? You got these scumbags out there that are running these fucking huckster schemes, trying to get people up in a bind to make a quick buck, right? It's the same thing. That's the globalist mentality. They're going to sell their fellow countrymen down the river to make a quick buck by using slave labor and poor environmental practices overseas. You know, for all the shit that California is doing, a lot of their pollution is coming in from China because it gets up at the jet stream and it comes over the Pacific and lands over here. So what happens over there matters. So, I mean, if you were a true environmentalist, you actually give a fuck, you would want that manufacturing to come back to the United States where we at least make an attempt to clean up our environment and give a shit about, you know, air quality. They don't over there. It's the same mentality. Different scale, right? As above, so below, right? So the macro and the micro reflect each other, but it's the same mentality. I need cellular data. Is it going bad? I don't know. I'm on 4G right now. People are too sensitive. Millions of gang members, paratroopers all over the sky in Russia. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about going into like DC, get the National Guard, now Chicago. Well, you got all these lawless cities, man. You got sanctuary. You got these sanctuary cities, and they're burning to the ground with all the lawlessness. Then they want to bitch at the guy trying to come in to restore law and order, who the people are clamoring to come in because they're tired of the nonsense. And this happens over, this is a history thing, guys, and republics have a tendency to devolve into dictatorships and monarchies. There's a reason why the monarchy is the longest and most successful type of government we've had in the history of humanity and ever. Hereditary monarchy is the best as far as keeping a society together and running the countries. This democracy bullshit, it does not work. It does not work. And even our founding fathers realized that. That's why they originally set it up where only people with skin in the game had the right to vote. It was not meant for everyone. Only for the people that actually had something to lose, that were plugged into the politics, knew what the fuck was going on with their local, state, and federal government. Now you can do man in the street interviews like TikTok or whatever. These assholes who couldn't even tell you who the vice president. They can barely tell you who the president is. They can't even tell you the capital of their state. But these assholes want to vote? They're not informed. And that's why we're failing. And just like with Rome, it becomes so cumbersome where the Senate can't get anything done because of all the infighting and bullshit, everything's the gridlock. It took a couple of generals fighting each other. One ultimately won, and because they had our own private army, crowned themselves emperor. And you know what? He got shit done. He got shit done. And that's what generally happens. It's the descendants from there that usually are the fuck-ups. But the one that initially comes in and takes control usually gets shit done and done fast. And sets order to chaos. We're heading that direction. Left or right, it doesn't matter. We're devolving into a chaotic, anarcho society, and eventually somebody with enough strength and charisma will take control. Pretty much. Now, Alexander Hamilton wanted the centralized bank from the word go. They tried to implement it with Jackson, and he told them to fuck off. That's why it lasted like another 100 years till they got to Woodrow Wilson. And they got it pushed through there because the fucker had a stroke, and his wife was actually running the country, not Woodrow Wilson. Instead of the power going to the vice president like it should have, he's a fucking invalid. His wife is the one actually running the country. And lo and behold, we got all these reforms of the Constitution, good or bad, depending on your point of view. The Fed gets established. We get into World War I, all that shit. Go look it up, man. And a lot of the bullshit that we're dealing with today stems from that administration. And Tiny's listening, he's laughing right now because he knows. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, if you look at it just from a mathematical point of view, the American Revolution was a complete waste of time. Because King George wanted to implement, it wasn't even a big tax, it was a small tax. Because he was fighting with fucking Napoleon and needed more money. It was something like 3%, guys. It's like 2 or 3% tax on fucking tea. And the people here got so bent out of shape about it, they decided they wanted to take on the largest military on the planet at that time. It would have been like, I don't know, Costa Rica taking on fucking the USA right now. It would be kind of like the equivalent, right? But Costa Rica somehow won. But they were so bent out of shape over that fucking tea tax. But look how much we're getting taxed now. It was a complete waste of fucking time. And that's fucking sad. But that's the reality. And it's... we allowed these people to use our own system against us. And that never should have been allowed to happen. But we did. Yeah, pretty much, Harry. I guess I'm waiting for see Charlie Kirk shot but alive and fighting for his life. I don't know. Yeah. I said 1,000 times before, I'll say it again. You don't debate Marxists, you defeat them. You don't negotiate with evil. Period. Socialism is evil. No doubt about it. 100%. It's an evil ideology. It does not work. Every time it's implemented, it's always to the detriment of the people. Winds up in abject misery, poverty, famine, and a mountain of skulls. Every fucking time. And it's been tried many times. At some point, you have to realize, hey, this is not going to work. All it's doing is killing off the old elites and establishing a new order, and they become the new elites. You're trading one oligarch for another one. It doesn't work. Yeah. Well, I don't know what else to say about it, guys. I've gone in a couple different directions. I think I got off my chest. But if you're religious, pray for Charlie. Even if you're not in the right wing, it's just he's another person that didn't deserve the violence that was inflicted upon him. He's a fellow American. And his only sin was out there trying to change a person's mind through logic and reason. But that's anathema to a progressive, to a Marxist. That's not in their vernacular. And we as a people, we've got to stop being, we are too tolerant. We need to be less tolerant as a society. Tolerance has gotten us this far, and it's not working. We need to stiffen up, tell people no, and stand behind that. And if they call you bad names, or they want to pitch a fit, you just let it roll off you like water on a duck's back. Don't give a shit. Call me whatever you want to call me. It's not going to change things. We're going to have a rule of law. It's the best system that we have. You saying, you know, you coming up with all this emotional bullshit, it's not going to work anymore. Don't care. And that's just where you got to be with it. And we need to have a solid rule of law, guys. We cannot devolve into anarchy. Anarchy is just going to lead to people getting killed in the streets. You, me, our families, everyone. It's going to crash our economy, and it's going to be a bloodbath. Like a legit bloodbath. We don't want that. I don't want that. Jesus Christ. That's one thing I don't agree with Reagan on, is he got rid of the mental institutions. We need to bring the asylums back, guys. We have too many mentally ill people roaming around in free society. These people need to be fucking locked up. They don't need to be out here with us. How many of these headlines are we going to deal with? All these mentally ill people walking around. Constant contact with law enforcement. If for some reason we can't do anything about it anymore like we used to, I don't understand. Yeah. A lot of it is. A lot of it is. We're on a lot of drugs and we got a lot of shit going on. But be that as it may, there are people out there like people hearing the voices in their heads, or schizophrenics, or whatever the fuck, bipolar motherfuckers. They're violent individuals that have a long history of it, but they still keep getting booted out because they got nowhere to put them. We need to bring the asylums back. 100%. This is getting out of hand. Alright, I'm done, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Take care.